Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics round review post round 6. We're recording live on Monday, the 21st of April, Easter Monday. Easter weekend has come and gone. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed some chocolates, spent time with family, and hopefully your fantasy teams went well, because mine certainly didn't. So we'll get stuck into that and plenty of other things. But I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And none of my co-hosts are on today. They're all busy. So I've got a couple of special guests jumping on. And it's been a while since we've had this man on. He was obviously called up sick the last time we are going to get him on. We got him back on. He's a good friend of the show, Jeppa from the Plus Six Pod. Jeppa, mate, how are you? How was your Easter weekend, aside from the footy, mate? Get up to much?
Yeah, just family time. But yeah, we're doing well and enjoying fantasy this week for once.
Yes, exactly. We'll get stuck into that because you had a massive week. And joining us is another good friend of the show. It is Jordy DeSena. Jordy, mate, how are you? How was your Easter weekend?
Good, mate. Yeah, pretty good. I did a couple of gigs, well, 5 gigs actually. So from Thursday till Monday, which is good, because last week with Gather Round there was a lot of gigs as well. So I think it's my last sort of busy weekend, and then it'll be back to sort of just normal stuff, which is good because it means more football to watch. Yeah,
exactly. Is that like 11 gigs for you, like last 2 weeks or like last 2 weekends or something?
Yeah, that'd be 11.
Yeah, right.
Crazy. You enjoyed it firsthand the other day, mate. You did well.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it was great to have you down there. It was, it was awesome.
Yep. No, I always love listening to you and DT11. Always good listening for the music, and I'm happy because I'm in Adelaide, so I get to hear it whenever I want, which is fantastic. So, but let's get stuck into our rounds, boys, and go through our scores, round ranks, and overall ranks. So, Geordie, I'll start with you, mate. How was your score, your round rank, and your overall rank now?
Yeah, so I only got 1988, so I didn't quite crack the 2K. I was obviously Holmes there with a 73. I thought he could just get me there to the 2K, but I went up 7 spots. So my rank's at 188. So I was 195 last week, so up 7 spots at 188, which is pretty good. And I didn't really do an upgrade this week. I got in long, so keen to get stuck into trades.
Yep, no, beautiful, mate. You're absolutely flying, and good to see you still up and around the top 200, not too far away from the top 100. But Jet, mate, you had a massive week. Not only yourself, but I'm pretty sure looking at this, you were the only content creator that you top scored and only person to go over 2,100. So what was your score, mate? Because you had a big week. Oh, Jet, you're on mute.
My fault. Sorry, got noise in the background, bloody kids. 21-8, mate. So we'll get that clear. And that's 169th for the week, for the round. So just
amazing.
Super lucky. And I will put it to the Cherry Gorn combo. So I started with Cherry and Gorn, and the return on investment hasn't been great to date. So they were definitely due. And, it's finally paying off.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. What was your your overall rank? So before the round, and where'd you jump up to?
So 2 weeks ago, lads, I was about 25,000, and I'm now 1,911. So
you're giving me hope. I've got hope.
Well, that's it. There's still really condensed rankings at the moment. So it's things can be fixed, adjusted, and ranks definitely moved up quicker than later.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping that this was going to be a round that I'd make a move, but not to be. 1920, 15,571, so moved up 87 spots, round rank of 22,533. I have still not had 1 week inside the top 10K yet. It has just been a real tough slog, and there's one guy that will probably get my negative throw unless I decide that I'll give it to someone else that has sunk my season. Unfortunately. But let's go through our plus threes and minus threes before we get stuck into the round. So, Jeff, I'll go back to you. Plus and minus 3 for the week.
Yeah, so I'll go plus 3 for Max Gorn, who really pulled on a big second half against Freo. Like I said, owner initially from round 1, so been waiting a long time for this sort of payoff. So, yeah, he's definitely the +3. -3 is tough because obviously it's been a good week of performances, but I will give it to Ryan Marrick. I know he scored 72 and that's probably as expected, but, yeah, just not hitting the 85 pluses, 90s that was probably thought he could achieve.
Yeah, he seems to have like one really quiet quarter or quiet half that just sort of stops him from getting that sort of 90, 100 score. Because he was on track looked like he was on like near 50 at half time and thinking, okay, if he can get to a 90, but still slowed down a bit. But yeah, at least he ticked over a tiny bit of cash gen for us there. Geordie, +and -3 for you?
Yeah, so Gorn I've got as well. He's obviously he was my top guy this week, but my second top guy was Noah Anderson. I had the C on him. So he got 110, which is not too bad. So I'll give him the +3. Was expecting a little bit more against the Richmond matchup, but obviously they lost as well. But I'll take that as a C after a few low C's around the board. And my -3, I'm probably going to give it to TDK with that 62. Yeah, it's not ideal, and just getting me thinking this week now. Do I jump to a cherry or do I, just hold him? He's got a good matchup this week and try and keep upgrading my team. So I'll give TDK the -3.
Yeah, no, we're not very good from him. But my +3, extra shout out to the Crows captain Jordan Dawson, 123 in a tough matchup. But I've got to give it to the big X. He's back. 116. Looked good. There was no management like the last 10 minutes, even though they were getting absolutely thumped. Played out the game. Looked a lot better. Okay, yes, he got bundled over and TDK kicked a goal in him and sort of the commentary team was saying, Cherry's getting completely dominated, which, okay, TDK's hit outs to advantage were great, but look at the fantasy score. That's what we care about. And he absolutely dominated with a 116. So good to see him back into a bit of form there. -3, though. It could go to Zach Reed, but I've got to give it to this guy's absolutely Tom Stewart. This guy has just been a constant headache and roller coaster with more lows than highs. Just week after week, there's always something with him. And today he was shit. He was crap. He misjudged half 100 balls. Couldn't bloody take he couldn't even get involved in many chains with +6s. It was just really frustrating to watch. I was just hoping for a 30-point quarter to just get him going, and it didn't come. And not only is he sitting in there instead of like a Sinclair or a Shees or someone like that, he's just not even getting it done. Like I should have kept the Fraser, should have kept the Sanders, should have kept there's probably a few other guys I've traded. So Sam Taylor, I said he'd average 80. I was just a week early. He's averaging 81 over the last 2 weeks. And he scored an 84. Could not believe what I was seeing when he kept intercept marking against the Crows. But bloody Sam Taylor, unbelievable. But yeah, that is my +and -3 for the week. But before we get into the games, we'll quickly go through the Content Creators Cup. So, Jep, how did you go in yours? Obviously top scoring, so I imagine you got the win. But who were you up against this week?
I was against Jaiden, and he did pretty well, 2013. So probably an unlucky week to face my full luck. What do we have? We didn't have too many different, I must admit. So he had Zorko, which probably hurt him, versus Nick Martin. That really would have hurt. And then there was a couple. He did have Dacos though. So, and Riley Sanders too. So Jaiden was one that kept Sanders, which was great. I had Cherry, Nick Martin, Dawson, and my new best mate again, Kane Farrell. Well overdue. That was well overdue.
Yeah, after some low scores there. I unfortunately went down to Hef, and the big mistake I think I made this week was when I saw Trainer was a sub, I was walking out of the Crows game. I should have just adjusted my trade and traded out Trainer over Davidson, and then I would have played Davidson over Lawler, which meant I would have won by 1 point. But unfortunately didn't make that adjustment, so I lost probably 40k, and Davidson looked good again. So another loss for me. I'm now the only coach in the Content Creators Cup that is on 1 win, so I'm stuck at the bottom. BAILSDT is well and truly back and in full force, unfortunately. We also had a draw between Fry and John Holm, who won the 20th coach competition. But a heap of other coaches went over 2,000 as well. In terms of overall ranks, few coaches still in the top 1,000. So Louis still there at 240 overall. DT Lim making his move now. He's up to 625 there. They've also got DC and Luke, and also obviously Jeppa, both all inside the top 2K now, and a heap of other coaches that are inside the top 10,000. And I also believe that I'm bottom for overall ranking as well. Oh, no, sorry. Guesty has got that job, but I'm still not doing too much better. And unfortunately, Mitch, obviously, make sure you tune to the Ball Boys pod tonight, because Mitch had a pretty horrendous week. 17.99, plenty of bullets going his way when he was camping. So I'll be tuning in to see his reaction from that. But let's get stuck into the games, boys, and we'll go through how the round went. So we'll go and start off at the first game of the round, which was Brisbane and Collingwood. And Jordy, we've got to start off with Nick Dacos, 131. That's now 3 of the last 4 games he's gone over 130. Just absolutely dominating. What did you make of his game on Thursday night? And I guess we're not going to break our team to get him, but I'm sure he'd have to be at the top of our shopping list if we're looking for a premium midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, he turns it on. I think Fagan said they were going to try and tag him, and obviously it wasn't a hard tag. It was a bit of I think Dunkley went to him, and then Berry maybe in the second half. They're trying to push him and shove him around, but he just looked amazing. I think the thing for me is, in fantasy, I think he was the second most traded in player. So I was a little bit worried because I know a lot of teams got him in, and a lot of teams also may have VC'd him. So, yeah, it was a pretty good move to get him in. And, I obviously missed that boat. I got Noah Long in, which is good for the cash gen. But, I'm going to be trying to get Dacos in. I still think if you can get him this week, you're not really paying overpriced. Like, he's not like 1.1 mil. I don't know how much he'll go up, but he'll still be at a decent price.
1.06, 1.05, somewhere around that. There.
If you can get that, I reckon do it. So, but yeah, he was brilliant. 38 touches, 1 goal, insane.
Yeah, exactly. He was very, very good. Another goal that was a bit impressive, and they talked about him on First Crack last night as well, making a difference for Dacos, and that's Ned Longjep, another 81. Solid score, and considering it was a pretty low-scoring fantasy game with only 4 players going over 82 points. What did you think of Ned Long's game? And I know a lot of people are strapped for cash this week after maybe spending it last week. Is there a play where you could go maybe a Marias, another cheaper rookie down and bring on a Ned Long at like an M6, M7 type on your field?
Oh, that's definitely, there's a world for that for sure. He's a big tackler and does obviously the inside grunt work. So Dacos, he just feeds it out to Dacos, and Dacos does his thing. I think, as a junior, Ned Long was just that hustle and bustle type player. But 21 possessions, 15 handballs, and I bet you about 10 of them went straight to Nick. So definitely having a correlation there. Playing well, really, I think he's still priced at 70 on. So
600K, yeah.
So, yeah, there's heaps of value there. If those with a bit, low bank, upgrade or downgrade a rookie, upgrade to Long, leave some cash in bank, and then go for the Uber Premium the week after.
Yeah, that's a play that I am looking at doing early doors before lockouts even lifted. A lot of, obviously, subpar scores here. Like, the Dunkley 97 was okay, but you probably want a little bit more. Josh Dacos got 95 there. Be interesting to see what happens with Dan Houston back this week. But, like, Lockie Neal, Darcy Cameron, Dane Zorko again, 3rd week under 90. So, he's dropping a lot in cash. Fletcher got a 70 as well, which isn't awful. Levi Ashcroft with a 63. Jep, is it too early to be trading a Levi Ashcroft? Or if he gets you the play you want, can you trade this week? Got the Saints, which we just saw the Dogs, obviously, last night dominate them. Would you still be holding him and upgrading around? Or do you think it almost could be time to upgrade Levi?
Personally, I'll be holding him for 2 reasons: the forward status and then the lack of good rooks elsewhere. So he can hit a 90 on his day, and the cupboard's a bit bare for fresh rookies. So obviously Davidson's done his part, and there's a lot of rooks, maxing out. But you'd be worried if you have to trade a Ashcroft and then have to play Marias, who's scored 30, right? So. Yep. Just got to weigh all that up. Personally, I'm going to be holding for a little while yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'll probably be holding for a little bit more. And then Will Ashcroft, 41, was awful. And Harry Perryman with a 33. Geordie, is Harry Parentesi, if you've still got him, he's got to go. Simple as that. But Will Ashcroft, where do you sit with him? Does he have to go as well?
Oh, that was so disappointing. Like he had a great run, like couple of weeks there, and now he's dropped to 41. It's hard because you want to start upgrading your team. So who have they got this week? You probably have to back him in, I guess, because he's been pretty good except for that week and maybe the first round of the year. So, but I don't really know what happened there. Like he still had the role, right? I'm just having a look at his CBAs. Still had, a fair amount of CBAs, 12 CBAs. I think you'd have to look at your options. Maybe you could go down to a long or something, but I'd probably look at other holes in your side. But that was just, a bit of a disappointing. Hey, I know if coaches even put the VC on him too. So,
yeah,
disappointing.
Coach I was up against, went the VC on him, and then the captain in the next game we're going to be getting to, so which is North Melbourne and Carlton. An absolute demolition job by Carlton, maybe finding a little bit of form, but North certainly didn't put up much of a fight here. George Hill at 123, what a fantastic pick he's been, particularly in draft. If you picked him up, fantastic. I don't think many out there started him in class, but if you did, congrats, because he continued his ton run, still the only player in the comp, obviously with Bailey Smith now going sub 100 this week. He's now the only player that's ton up in every game they've played in. Obviously discounting the players have only played 1 or 2 games. He's been fantastic. Big X, 116. Good to see him back. 11 tackles as well. And Geordie, obviously I'll get your thoughts on Cherry, but the thing that I noticed in this game was the last, 4 weeks of Cherry, we've obviously seen him manage, but what he would do, he'd win the hit out, and then he'd sort of stop. He'd get the hit out, and then he'd just leave the rest to do. Whereas this week, he got the hit out, and he did that sort of ominous run that he would do towards the contest, and then he would just absolutely grab someone. There was one time where he tackled the player that had the ball and a teammate. He tackled them both together and brought them to the ground. It was pretty crazy. So what are your thoughts on the Big X, and do you think he's an option for us once again? Obviously, dropped a heap in cash.
Yes, I think a massive play. He looked great. I think Clarko may have said, in the presser, and even like during the week, he actually had a training day this week, which is obviously a big tick because he hadn't been training. And obviously we saw that on the weekend, had 11 tackles, as you said. He's a massive one that I'm looking at. I just don't know whether I sideways, if those TDK, I'm a TDK owner, whether we do that or we just, we try and keep upgrading our team. But I think Cherry is a massive trade in at his price for sure.
I dare say that those people that don't have enough money, particularly to get up to an upgrade, I think TDK to Cherry is going to be one of the most popular moves made this week with people looking to do that switch. Adam Cherrett continued his great year, 109, ticks over, another good score. And me going Hollands over him to start the year was just one of the many mistakes I made this year. Harry Sheasel, 91. That was a part I was alluding to. The other coach had as captain. So not great when you have a 41 going into a 91 as your captain, but he's pretty lucky to get there again. Did a bit like he did against the Crows, where he just saved his score in the last quarter. Had 23 handballs, no marks there. I think North Melbourne, just from a football standpoint, I think they have to put a McKercher or a Sheasel back there. Like McKercher's having no impact on the game whatsoever, and he's just lost. So they need one of him or Sheasel back in the half-back line. Like Fisher got injured, and maybe you never know. They'd talk about Caleb Daniel maybe getting dropped or something like that. So just something to watch there for North. But then, a lot of other sort of average scores here. Probably the theme of the weekend for a lot of people. Walsh, 85. Caleb Daniel, 80. It's okay. Tom Power, 75. Probably time for him to go as well. TDK, 62. Jep, does he have to, obviously, we flagged this during gather-round saying how tired he looked. And again, he looked all right in this game, but just not getting the touches, not getting the tackles, anything like that. He's probably got that number one ruck role, so I don't think they're going to bring Pitney in the way that they played and the way that he still gets hit as to advantage. But does he have to go from our teams just because he's not getting it done? Or if you've got other priorities, just fix them up still?
It's quite a tough one because you could trade him out and he comes out and blitzes, a bit like Cherry. So, look, to me, he looks tired. He's looked tired for a few weeks. I think they really need to bring Pitney in personally just to give him a more of a rest, and then he can do his thing up forward. But, if I'm an owner and we're backing what Cherry's going to do now, then you're looking to do that move for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we'll probably touch on this when we get through the games. But who do we go to? That's the question. Because a lot of people have got Cherry TDK. There was a Giants ruck, which we'll get to shortly, but you're not going there anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go. So we'll touch on that a little bit later on as well. Holland's 55, got to go if you still got him. Finn O'Sullivan can go, 22, got caught holding the ball. I think he needs to go back to a wing personally. Just not really getting it done off half-back for us. And pretty much the only real rookie that we've got as an option this week potentially is Matt Carroll, another 52. Not an amazing score, but maybe that's the downgrade you got to get because a few of the other options were either sub or didn't have good scores. So we'll move over to the Eagles and Essendon game because this is where drama started before the game because we had Tom Gross and Sardell Hawley both as the subs. So people definitely editing their trades. And a few people called out because they might not have seen the news if they were doing stuff for Easter. But Nick Martin, your boy Jep, I'm pretty sure you brought him in, and I know our good friend Taser did as well. 122, he was fantastic. Would have loved to have got him in this week, but he was very, very good. A great target for people that don't have him. Matt Flynn, 97. Geordie, could this be someone for TDK that is an option? He looked good, took some good marks. I know that he was up against not much in the sort of this the last quarter, obviously with Draper going down with that Achilles injury, but could you look there?
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? Like if you're going down to someone like that, and then I don't know. I mean, Jeppa might, as the West Coast man, like Flynn was in, and then he was dropped, and then Bailey Williams was in. I don't know. Is that like have they settled that role now? Is it that would be the only thing? Is you're going down, and then you're using another trade later, like it's risky.
It's yes, I agree.
Yes, and I'd probably rather just go straight to TDK, not TDK Cherry if I haven't got him or Gorn. I think, it's high risk, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, we saw he was in and then he was out, and you probably want to see a bit more there.
Exactly. Jet, would you agree with that as well?
I'll just say with the rucks, with Gorn, if you're not a non-Gorn owner, you're going there with their matchups coming up, right? So they got Richmond and West Coast over the next two, and I'm pretty sure the outlook after that's half decent as well. So you're going for Gorn, and if you're not a Cherry owner and you reckon he can tackle and get back to his normal self, then for sure, it's Gorn and Cherry combo. I will say, like with McKercher, I will be watching him closely because you're right, Bales. They need to make a move there, whether it's Sheasel or McKercher. So let's see what happens in that space. But they have to change something, surely.
Yeah, and McKercher's getting pretty cheap as well. So something to watch around if that's the case. Zach Merritt, 81. Unfortunately, just another one of these high-priced players that people jump on that doesn't get it done. We've seen like Zorko, even at Whitfield last week, didn't get it done. Obviously, Whitfield, different story this week, so be pretty happy. But another 81 from Merritt. Unfortunate score there. A lot of people had the C on him as well, not being able to loop. So poor score from him there. Elijah Hewitt, 77 was good. Probably his best game as an Eagle. So, Jep, is he too expensive? He's going to be near 400K. Is he probably a bit out of price range?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him. He got a 77 with 2 goals, 1. So just be wary of that. He's an impact player, not an accumulator.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Marrick, 72. Just probably a little bit under what we want, but still ticks over some cash gen. But maybe I think they've got a decent enough run coming up in the near future. But yeah, it's something to just keep an eye on. Might have to trade him in a few weeks if he can't pop one of those 80s or 90 scores. Jackson Price, 68. That's rookie roulette, getting everyone. People that started Prior last week probably benched him for Zach Reid, and Zach Reid, who scored a 36 this week. Albeit had to play in the ruck in the last quarter, but still wasn't going very well up until that point. Jep, can he go? Can Zach Reid go? Obviously, I don't know what his break-even will be now, but over 500K, like a downgrade from him to Carroll, if it's on your bench, could something like that work?
For sure. That would generate you heap cash. Trainer, where's Trainer at? There's a lot of rooks now maxed out. So Reid's one of them. The thing I will say with trading out rooks is make sure you're trading out the ones sort of borderline best 22 first, where Zach Reid really is best 22 solidified. So I'd look to say a Moraes first as an example, because he's kind of borderline best 22 to 23.
Yeah, good point. Tom Gross 11 as well, and then Sardell Hawley -1, and that was from just over a quarter as well. So not great from Sardell Hawley, unfortunately. And his break-in was -4 or 5, so probably went up 1K when lockout lift. So very unfortunate there for Pill that jumped on him and didn't see the news that he was the sub. Moving over to Saturday, and Melbourne getting a much-needed win over Freo, who are probably like the biggest teasers, I think, in the AFL at the moment. They got the team, but just aren't getting the results, unfortunately. Big Max Gorn, 125, got it done. Definitely overran Sean Darcy, particularly in that last quarter with some really big moments, but it was good all day. 28 disposals from him. He was very good, so a good option potentially if you're trading a TDK. Jake Bowie, DC's boy, continues to get it done. His first ton of the year. Stephen May being out definitely with a few extra kick-ins for him was good, but yeah, Bowie got it done. Andrew Brayshaw, 106. Plenty of touches. Just the 3 marks, 3 tackles meant no ceiling score here. Also went off a few times with a cut to the eye. But 106 was fine. Obviously, with a few other players not getting it done. Petrarca got 100 as well on debut for me. Pretty happy with that. Clayton Oliver, a lot of time on the bench. I think he's still okay. Richmond and West Coast next two. Don't think worrying too much about him. Lindsay was better, 63. He's probably a hole for Pill that had got him there, and even a Langford got a 64 and was pretty good. I think he had 0 points at quarter time as well. So don't think there's pretty much really anyone probably going to depth with there. A lot of people got the job done there, and we did touch on the rucks a little bit earlier. So we'll move on to very weird game, this one. Adelaide and GWS with the Crows getting a much-needed win. I was very happy with this one here. Lockie Whitfield, 143, absolutely smashed it for all of his owners out there. If you had him, you'd be very, very happy there. Jordan Dawson, 123, respond after a pretty poor game against Geelong the week before. Good score from him. Thought this would be a low one for him there. Lockie Ash, Geordie, 118, just continues to get it done, and he's still like going to be low 900s. Is it? Well, I think it's real now. This has been over 6 weeks, right? So, is he still a target, or do you think he's a little bit sort of in a bit of weird price range? What are your thoughts?
This is, yeah, I've been thinking about this too. Like when he dropped that 60, I was like, oh, this is going to happen. He's going to have those high ones, those low ones. He's maybe going to come out as, a 90 guy maybe this year, but he's going at 99, I think. I thought, with Whitfield there, how can they both do that? But like, he's going so great. Like, I don't know, like, can he actually sustain this? Like, can he sustain 9,500 for the year? If he can, then he's probably worth jumping on with the pricing and the options that we've got. So I'm sort of interested in it. You're sort of banking in that improvement, aren't you? That natural improvement. Like he's never been a top 6. So like you're either going to pay up and grab one or you're banking on that. But he is gone pretty darn good. So just going to look at his kick-ins. He had 2 kick-ins. So Whitfield's still taking the main kick-outs with 6 and he had 2. But yeah, he's just become one of the main distributors for him, which is awesome. So he was a great pick to start with, actually. Yeah.
I went the wrong giant. I thought I'd go the gun defender in Sam Taylor, who again his game scored well in his own right with an 84. But yeah, he would have been a great start. A lot of people did jump off.
I'll make you feel better, Bales. I started with Ash, then traded him out round 2 after his 60 score. So yeah, spare a thought.
Yeah, exactly. And there would have been a lot of people as well. A lot of people would have unfortunately jumped off of Ash after round 1. Big Rob respond after a poor one was really good in this game. Certainly taught Kieran Briggs a bit of a lesson there, and we'll get to him in a second. But Callahan 105, Tom Green 104, 36 touches again, 22 handballs. Just again, pretty happy he's getting these tons, but hopefully he can start kicking it a bit more and maybe had a few more marks and tackles. A bit of a weird game, this one there. Isaac Rankin, 98, with a Bedford tag was really impressive there. Roy Laird got an 80, so going to continue to drop cash. So it could be someone to look at. Saligo, 79 was poor. Connor Stone got a 62, a little bit more cash made from him. Toby Green, 45 after being pretty good to start the year. But Kieran Briggs, Geordie, 39. I know there were a number of people out there that actually made the Cherry to Briggs move this week, and definitely not the week to be doing that. I'm assuming for non-owners, this is just a cross off the list for Briggs. But what do you do if you brought Briggs in? Do you just sort of hold faith with it? Do you jump off? Because he hasn't really done anything since he's come back from injury or concussion.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that, he would have lost quite a lot of points. So he'll just look at his fixture. He's coming up against Tim English this week, who usually is pretty good matchup. So I don't know. You'd have to see your team, but maybe you just have to back it in. I guess I'm not sure what his break even is and stuff, but he's probably not really making you any money or anything. But or he's bottoming out. But I just maybe you just have to hold that, I think, and try and fix your team unless you can't get anywhere else and you trade him. But it's not great to trade in someone in the right and then trade them out the next week. Like that's just sort of wasting 2 trades when all the other teams are getting upgrades. So I think I'd stick fat with it.
Yeah, just not trading him in. It's one of those ones where, obviously, as Jep and Pete do on +6, it's not like or dislike. It's probably a dislike for non-owners, and if you are, you just hold and keep the faith. So hopefully you can turn it around. He's got English this week as well, right? So better matchup than Riley O'Brien. Moving to big upset here, Richmond and Gold Coast. Richmond getting the job done by 11 points. No one thought they'd win a game this year, and yet they've got 2 already, and they've got some winnable games for Richmond actually over the next month or so. So might even add another win or 2 there. But Nick Vlosten got it done, 129. If you got him in draft, be very happy. But Jep, I know you weren't keen on him when we were chatting in Gather Round, but Tim Taranto, 120. He's gone 102, 97, and 120 in his last 3. Got Melbourne this week and some decent enough matchups after that. Still around that 900K or low 900s. What are your thoughts on Tim Taranto if you can't get up to your Dacosses and guys like that are just over $1 million? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a risk because of how Richmond will perform. When obviously they won and they're up and about and he scores big. But what if they're getting flogged and that's likely in a lot of games, maybe not in the short term, which makes him a play. But yeah, I don't tend to go for that type of player typically. I think there's better picks around. Those in the struggling teams, you just sort of stay away from. But that's me. But then you get blokes like Sheasel who go against that sort of grain, don't they? So yeah, I just feel like Taranto can have an off day if the team's not performing well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wonder if Jack Viney, who did a job on Caleb Sarong, I wonder if he stands next to Taranto this week, obviously after Taranto's good performance. So something to note. But yeah, I don't mind Taranto as an upgrade target. He would have been perfect this week to have brought in. John Nova, 113.
Just on Taranto, I was looking at, I watched this game and I've noticed like he took 4 marks this week and last week he took 4 marks. The first 4 rounds, he only had 1 mark and no marks, like on average. So I think exactly how Jeppa said, if Richmond are being more competitive, he seemed, I was watching him and he was spreading more and getting those extra marks. But obviously Richmond have, maybe their game styles changed or they've been more competitive last couple of weeks. I listened to, I think, Vlaston, and even though the Freo score was quite a bit, I think, they won by quite a bit. By the half, they thought they were in it or they had a good half. And he's had 4 marks in the last 2 games. So, yeah, I think I'm looking at him, but I agree with Jeppa. I probably have to look at the run and just if Richmond can be competitive, I think he might be all right.
Yeah, like it. John Nova, 113. He's been a good pick for those that jumped on him. Another ton for him. I think it's 2 of the last 3 he's tonned up there. So good from him. Noah Anderson, your boy, Geordie, 110. So just ticked over the good score. Wasn't looking like it was going to be a good score for a lot of the night, but got there in the second half. So that was a good, solid performance from him. Jaiden Short, 68. 0 point last quarter. And this is the thing, unfortunately, that all of us Jaiden Short knows because a lot of us have got him. He's done this all year. He's had 1 quarter where he's scored a single digit or gone and done nothing. And that's just holding those 80s from being hundreds, those hundreds from being the 120s, and then the 68, instead of it being a 90, it was a 68. So still, I think he's a low priority, but he's obviously not going to be that top 6, top 8 defender that So I thought maybe he could have this year in a struggling Richmond side, but unfortunately, probably not going to quite get there. But I think still a lower priority. Sam Lawler, 59. I thought he was going to be subbed out. I heard on the radio that he copped a massive I think it was like a massive sort of knee or something from Mac Andrew in the first quarter. Yeah, in the ribs. Yeah, so went down, came back on and was solid enough. 59 ticks over some good cash gen there, and I think he's in mid 500k now, so making good cash. Probably got another week or two worth there. Flanders 57 was poor. Going to drop a lot in cash and will be a target at some point, but yeah, just not getting it done. Dan Rioli again, not getting it done. He can probably go if you've got him. He's take out that 50-point quarter against the Crows. He's just hasn't really done much, unfortunately. And then the big, obviously, story from this game, Jep, before the game was Luke Traynor being the sub. I think you flagged on the +6 pod as well, and we were chatting about it at Gather-Round last week, saying he looked sore at the end of that Freo game and was subbing. And again, we should have given -3 to like Adam Uze. Why are you bringing a sub on with 6 minutes? Just let it go. You don't need the sub. He had one handball, didn't have any impact on the game. Just let it go and leave him. But is he? His break-in probably going to be around 60. He's got Melbourne this week, so good matchup. Are you still holding him because he's shown the ability to score better? I think even Adam Uze said that he probably won't be sub next week. It was just a bit of a management thing. So what are your thoughts on Luke Traynor moving forward?
Yeah, it was the beauty of coming to Gather-Round Bales, was getting to see players and how they move off camera. And he just looked proppy and saw in that. He copped a tackle in the back, and he was sort of ginger from that. So, yeah, with these first few players, they get managed, right? So I still think he's best 22. I still think he's got a role to play for the team. Bolter does get them more direct from the back line out. There might be a little bit less chipping sideways. That was the first thing I noticed with him playing, and how he sort of exited 50 with his defence. So it's still a hold for me, just on the theory that he's best 22.
Yeah, and a good matchup as well this week. So, if you've got a red dot defender, a lot of people got an O'Connell. Maybe Hasty's still a red dot. You might even be able to loop that on the Thursday night and see how he goes and get a look. So, yep, I don't mind holding him as well. Moving to the Sunday games, but as always, obviously was sponsored by Infinite Wealth, and also our friends at Game Day Squad as well. Obviously, another AFL fantasy platform, but doing a number of other sports as well. So I'm pretty into the IPL cricket at the moment. They've got that going, but for the AFL there, if you want another AFL fantasy platform to play. Obviously, it's weekly as well, so really good cash prizes, best cash prizes going around in the AFL fantasy space in terms of weekly. So make sure you head over to gamedaysquad.com.au and register. If you haven't registered yet, use the code BAILSDT at sign up, and you get 3 free packs worth $21. It's 27 players to kickstart your club. And you can start earning rewards straight away. You get free packs every Monday just for logging in. So make sure you guys get around our friends at Game Day Squad. So use the code BAILSDT at sign up to get some free packs and join in the fun. Moving to the first game on the Sunday, which was Sydney and Port Adelaide. So Port getting the job done here over Sydney. Zach Butters, 114. He's just a gun. Got it done yet again in a tough matchup. Your boy, Jet Farrell, 106, was very good as well. 11 marks. Really got that score over there. Horn Francis, 3 tons in a row. Another 105. He was great. Obviously, Geordie being the Port man. Connor Rosey got a 101 as well. Was pretty good considering he got tagged by Jordan for a lot of the game. They dropped the tag late, which, funny enough, actually coincided with him actually not scoring as well. He was actually scoring better when he was getting tagged. Do you think this move with Rosey for him is better for his fantasy prospects moving forward? But then also, I want to get your thoughts on, do you think this is also good for like a Horn Francis who is now on a really good run? He's looking good. And do you think this means that his floor will be raised? So just touch on Rosey first, and then what your thoughts are on a Horn Francis, even a Butters.
Yeah, I think I actually think Rosey at halfback is actually good for his points. Like, I mean, last week I was worried last week when I saw the move, but then once I actually saw it in motion, I actually think it's for our team. It's actually, I think, going to help his points. And I was looking at so basically in the second and third quarter, he had 100% time on ground. And
95% time on ground for the game. It's crazy.
Yes.
Very, very good. And also kick-ins. 4 kick-ins took a bit of an uptick from last week.
And which is awesome. And he said in the week, it's allowing him to be a better captain as well, because when I was at the game last week, all you could see him is just pointing, setting up the play. Like he said he can be a better captain behind the ball. So I think it's going to stick. He did have 6 CBAs in the last quarter, so he did go in there. But
do you reckon that was with Wines? Do you reckon that was with Wines being subbed out?
So Wines got subbed out, and I think that allowed them that extra rotation. But what this is allowing is, it's allowing your Butters, Horne-Francis to go to work. It's allowing Drew and Wines to get more time in there and do that defensive role. So I think it's a win-win for Horne-Francis as well as Rosie. And if he keeps this role, I think by round 11, we will get him as a DPP. Horne-Francis said for the whole week, Rosie didn't train with the midfielders. He trained at half.
He said we haven't seen him all week. Yeah,
he said we haven't seen him all week. So I don't know. Does that mean he's going to keep this role? He's saying he's a better captain behind the ball. I think it's pretty intriguing. And even with the tag, the commentators are saying he's untaggable because he's so quick, and Jordan couldn't keep up with him. It's like him with Dacos. Dacos was just too quick for him.
That's the thing that Rosie did, that we all our players that get tagged, we want them to do what Rosie did, which is just run and just try and get some open ball, just run past for some handball, get some easy touches. Obviously, we love it when our players take kick-ins as well when they're being tagged. But I think I said it to Tim last week. I think this is like a duck to water. I think this is a great move. I think he looks fantastic. Josh Carr was the coach at North Adelaide when they won the premiership, went in Rosie's before he got drafted. He was a half-back. So I think this will stick, and I think he's a top 6 defender pretty easily, I think, in this role. I think I think it's going to be great for him, and I think it's also going to be good for Horne-Francis. And if Zach Butters keeps playing the way he did, I don't think they're going to tag Rosie. They're probably going to go for Butters because Sydney probably should have tagged Butters because he was fantastic. So definitely something to watch with Port moving forward. Matt Roberts responded with a 96. He had a really good third quarter, I think it was. Had like 42 points there with 11 disposals. Really got it done. Still didn't turn up, but it was still good to get a good score from him. My boy, Sam Wicks, 75, ticks over some good cash gen there. So pretty happy with that. He was pretty impressive there. Riley Bice, he was solid as well with a 72. Just no issue with him whatsoever. Had a lot of handballs in this game and not as many marks. But he was pretty good. And how about bloody Aaron Francis? 63 points in last quarter with 3 goals won. Probably the best quarter of footy he's ever played. And for sure, he's got to be in Sydney's team moving forward, I reckon. That wasn't fancy related, though. Just thought I'd mention that because he was really good. Christian Moraes, Jep, you mentioned it. Time to go for him, 30 points?
Maybe not this week, just because Wines is out. I might ask Geordie, actually, how are they going to work the midfield now if Rosie's back and Wines is out of the team for the short term? Is there any young rooks? Well, Wines got subbed off with the heart issue, didn't he? So, I suspect he's going to have a few weeks off.
We'll see with Wines. I think the doc was like, if he can manage it this week, he could be available. I think last year he had something similar where he got subbed off and then he played the next week, Bales, or maybe he missed one week. We'll have to see. But he obviously, Wines had surgery this preseason to try and fix that. And obviously it's come back, the palpitations. So that's what I think it was. So obviously he would be a bit frustrated, I think, because I think he, had surgery to try and remove that. But we'll see what happens. But I think Moraes is, I'm not really sure. We have our injury list is pretty healthy. So I think Moraes should be fine again this week. And we won as well. I know it was a close game, but we don't really have to make too many changes. So I think he should be okay. But we got North this week, so you could potentially hold him for one more.
Yeah, exactly. Moving to the Bulldogs and Saints game, and this was an absolute demolition by the Dogs, and good news considering what we thought. Sam Darcy, no ACL, which is really good. Obviously, he's still out for a few months with a fracture somewhere in his knee, but it was still good to hear no ACL. But obviously, still disappointing for Dogs fans. But considering they thought it was a season done, his season is still probably alive. Might come back late in the year, and Dogs played really well, so I dare say they're probably going to be top 8 if they play like they did last night. But Riley Sanders, 130 points, went absolutely nuts. And don't know if you boys saw this. He scored 117 points after quarter time. I was sitting there as a non-Sanders owner going, 13 points at quarter time. It's fine. I trade him. It's fine as long as he doesn't go massive. Well, he did, and he went absolutely huge. But Geordie, is Riley Sanders a trade-in option? Like 130, he's actually looked really good the last 3 weeks. He's obviously had some quieter quarters, but for those people that traded him out, can we go back there, or is this just a bit of like a dog smashed him? Not one out of the box because we know he's a good player, but maybe he's just not going to put up. He's just going to be more an 80 sort of guy normally. What do you think?
So this is crazy because Sanders had 0 CBAs. So he wasn't. He was just playing off half forward. I think. I don't know if he was on the wing, but Bont obviously coming back has actually helped him, and he had no midfield time, and he's come out with a 130. Obviously, the St Kilda factor, but you're right. He looks great. Can you trade him in? I don't know. I never started him, so maybe I could trade him in. But the people that have just traded him out and then traded him back in, but I mean, 130 is hard to ignore, isn't it? It's not like it's a 100 or a 90. Like, it's a big score.
91 points in the second and third quarter combined.
11 marks. He looked great. It's just, I don't know. I might have to have a look at that this week.
I thought St Kilda was pretty loose checking on him. Like the amount of marks he took it around 70 metres out with no one around him was pretty surprising. So I can't see that happening every week, although he's been in pretty good form the last 3 weeks. So that coincides when I've traded him out, mate. So I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. But I can one up you, Jep. I've traded Sanders and Sam Taylor, and they're both performing like premiums. So there you go. But Bont, good to see the Bont back. 119. Had him in a heap of drafts. I just drafted him just because I knew he'd be back. And 119, good to see. Good to see the champ back. Still looking like the best player in the comp. Still, he was very, very good. Libba 114. Did you boys see that chase down that he did of Brad Hill? That was just. They're absolutely fantastic. I did not think Libba could run that quick. I don't think he could have thought he could run that quick. Chased him down 114. He's been a great picker if you've got him, and I know that Hef had him, and a big reason why he got the job done over me this week. A lot of other dogs, tons like Bailey Dale, Williams, both going 112, Kennedy 109, Richards Johannesson 101, English also turned up as well. Nasai 86. Ross, please stop stuffing around with Nasai's role. He's not a midfielder. He's not a forward. Put Jack Sinclair in the midfield. He's played midfield and looked better, had more impact. Nasai's got, I don't know, Jet, what you think. I don't think Nasai has any impact when he's in the CBAs whatsoever. If he goes forward, he kicked a few goals last week. Great. Just, I don't know what you think, but I think they've got to keep him half back.
Yeah, fantasy-wise, he just needs to be behind the ball to get, set up play and get those kicks through. So, but yeah, when he's on ball, he's obviously learning, and that's when they're just trying him in there just to give him a go. When he does get the ball forward to centre, he can kick a goal, and I think he had a game where he kicked a few the other week. So, not ideal for owners, but then non-owners are licking their lips with, they're going to drop in cash a little bit and become maybe feasible over the next week or two.
Yeah, I think he had like 11 bounces as well, had like 3 or 4 runs of like 4 bounces. So he was really, really good in terms of his run and carry, just needing behind the ball a lot more. And if Sinclair don't want to play in there and he doesn't want to play in the midfield, mate, Port or the Crows, hope for the Crows, but I will say Port as well because I know they both want him. Come back to Adelaide. Just play for one of us. We'll play half back and make sure it's the Crows.
Love to have him.
Yeah, I think both of us will. So, come the Crows. Join your cousin or Wayne Miller or second cousin, however. I know they're related somewhere. But anyway, I digress and we'll move back to fantasy. Hugo Garcia, 84, 10 tackles, was solid again. So if you did hold him, he's probably a hold for another week or two with some good scores there. Jack McRae, tackles were there, touches were not, just the 83. But again, St Kilda were pretty poor. Sinclair, 78 as well, didn't get it done. Jack Steele as well has been one of probably the most disappointing premium picks so far this year. Has not got it done whatsoever. 65 will be dropping a lot in price though, so is going to be a target at some point potentially if he can get going.
65% time on ground for Jack Steele.
Very interesting. There must be something.
Mustn't be right.
Maybe a bit of a niggle going on there. I know his right knee was strapped, so maybe there's that knee issue again. But I guess we'll have to find out. Rowan Marshall, 52. This was flagged a few weeks ago that this could happen, that he's just going to drop off. And I know Saints were bad, but Marshall's just no marks, no tackles. That's not the Ron Marshall we know. We know that he gets multiple marks around the ground. He tackles. So he's going to drop a lot in cash. And until we can see something, I think that this no preseason is going to probably halter him for a good portion of the year, and potentially he might not even be an option for us, depending on how he goes. So he's been disappointing. Max Hall was good in the first quarter, but died off after that, along with a lot of the Saints players there. So he only scored the 43. He can probably go to fund an upgrade. And the final game we'll go to, so Easter Monday, another cracking game. I don't know how Geelong and Hawthorn keep doing this, but they just continue to punch out these great games every year. John Newcomb, 118. Jep got it done again. No Will Day has meant that he's had to step up. Do you think he's an option for us? He's going to be near that $1 million now, but he just keeps getting it done.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. So he's priced at 104, new price of 972-ish if you go by Selby's projector. So definitely a target for me. Little bit cheaper, can get it done and can hit the ceiling score. And I think, he's the main man there. It's just whether opposition tag him, and that could definitely happen. He's the easy target. But, yeah, big workload, and Hawks have a really good draw coming up. So, yeah, conscious of that. Yep,
definitely could be a target. Lloyd Meek as well was good for a lot of people that got him in draft. Don't know if I'd go there in Classic personally, but a few people may be interested after a 115. Carl Amon, 110 was good as well. Warple turned up there. Bailey Smith, 84. Had a lot of touches, just didn't get those tackles and gave a few free kicks away, including essentially like almost punching Impey in the face with the ball. Gave the free kick away. Just be a fine. I'm not worried he'll get a week or anything like that. I know Connor Nash, though, will be on a bit of a holiday after essentially roundhousing and knocking out Brian Myers there, so he'll be out for a little bit. Max Holmes, 73. I know you were disappointed, Geordie. He was pretty poor after quarter time. I'm sure Hawthorn did a bit. I didn't notice a tag per se, but they were very mindful of him after quarter time. And he didn't get much of the ball after that. Tom Stewart as well, 60 was disappointing. He's going to be in the 700s this week. So I know Jet won't be jumping on Tom Stewart because he doesn't like Geelong players, but maybe other people might be considering Tom Stewart at some point. He'll be very cheap. And Dylan Moore was someone I was looking at this week. 48 was putrid, and he's going to be low 700s very soon. And I just don't know if we can go there, Geordie. I don't know what you think about Dylan Moore, but he's just been so up and down. Hawthorn aren't quite looking – well, they haven't scored many fantasy points the last couple of years anyway, but I don't know, just doesn't look like he's really got that sort of same open role with the +6s and everything. He's going to be cheap, so he might be an option at some point, but I don't know what your thoughts on Dylan Moore are, but yeah, not good.
Yeah, I think, like Dylan Moore is a 90 guy, I think, in the last 2 years. And I think, I just think with the forwards we got now, we added Petrarca, we added Nick Martin, there was someone else I'm missing. But it's just like, if you're going to trade in Dylan Moore, I know he's cheap, but is he going to be a top 6 or close enough to a top 6? I just don't think he's going to be around that now. I just think with the options that we have, I'm just looking at the CBAs on the weekend from today's game. And, if he had more, like he had 4 CBAs. So, if he had more CBAs with Will Day out and he had that role, then, I'll probably be interested. But yeah, I think, with 4 CBAs at the half forward role, I just can't. And with the forward options, I wasn't really that keen last week. I wanted to see one more, and that just sort of tells me that, I'm not going to look there. And on that, so Dylan Moore's now 761K, and he's got a break even of 109. So yeah, you're right. He'll go low 700. And Stewart is 774K, and he's got a break-in of 105. So these guys are going to be like 750K under, which is very cheap.
Yeah, and with the lack of, rookies coming through, you might have to, if you can get the upgrade, maybe you got to look at a few of the guys that have dropped even price. The other 2 players before we wrap up the games I didn't touch on was Chad Warner in the last, Corey Warner, in the last game with a 27 and Caden Cleary with a 33. Very disappointing from Cleary. He was probably still the better pick of the 3. Obviously, wasn't the sub, but Matt Carroll was probably the pick of the rookies this week, a lot cheaper and scored better. But yeah, Caden Cleary was definitely poor. Hopefully, will be better moving forward. But that's the games, boys. So we'll touch on a couple of questions there. But obviously, Jet, with the rucks, obviously TDK, a few people obviously are wanting to move on from him. Is Cherry the best target for non-owners? And if you've got a Cherry, is it just not mucking around and going to the top and going for a Cherry Gawn combo?
Yeah, it's high risk, but it's definitely the Cherry Gawn combo now, I think. Gawn with his run in the short term, and then Cherry, if he's going to tackle, 11 tackles, 44 fantasy points as a baseline, or if it's 8, whatever it may be, it just helps perform how he did last year. So comes with risk, though, because, Cherry could feel that tendonitis, hamstring tendonitis, whatever it is, again. And, I just hate, like Jordan said earlier, burning trades in rucks just kills you. So it's the timing of when you do it. If you've got bigger problems, maybe I'd focus on that first. But, yeah, definitely an option.
Yeah, so Marco was saying, as TDK a trade. So you're still thinking if you can get an upgrade with your 2 trades, you'd be just doing that instead and just holding TDK as long as Pitney's not named?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd focus on other areas first, personally, because TDK can smash out 100 quite comfortably, especially against Team English. So, Tim is not an accountable.
Oh, he's got TDK's got Geelong this week, but we just saw
that's even better.
We saw Meek come up. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I would play it.
Yeah, Meek had 47. Meek had 47 hit-outs today against Stanley, Neil, and Blitzarv. So, yeah, if Pirlo's not named, you think TDK has got a good matchup. If he can try and get 50 hit-outs, maybe he can put it to 70, 80 with maybe a ton. So, yeah, I think I'm going to hold that. And and as we said, if you're Briggs coming into English, I think you just hold it. I guess it's one of those things. I'm probably going to look at my team and go, how am I going to get the most points like this week? Like TDK to Cherry, how many points would that be potentially? Mm-hmm. And then if, a Davidson or someone like that to an upgrade, how many points would that be? So I'll just look at that, I think.
Yeah, something to watch. But yeah, Cherry's breaking 115 down at 961. So probably not going to be too much cheaper. You wouldn't have thought. Matt 435, Geordie, what's more important, Fraser to a premium defender or a rookie up to Petrarca? Obviously, Fraser 96 on the weekend. Obviously, I traded him out this week, so that was always going to happen. What are your thoughts? Fraser up to a premium defender, or are you going a rookie up to Petrarca?
Oh, that's a tough one because last week I would have said Freya up because he wasn't doing much. But 96, is Bont actually helping him go to half back? I don't know. Did he play half back? I'm just going to have a look.
Seemed to me like he played a mixture. Played more forward.
Yeah, he played everywhere. He played half back, half forward, bit of middle. He was sort of Mr. Fixer in that sense.
Yeah, that's
with Johannesson back as well. That's obviously one less distributor role available back there. So I'd still be happy enough trading him, but I guess if you can go a rookie to Petrarca though, I'd be doing that. I think. Would you agree?
I think so. I think that's ahead. Yeah, and then because who would you go for Freya? You're going up to what, like a Whitfield or something, who's like pretty expensive.
And then you're not jumping on Zorka or anything like that. Yeah, Nick Martin could be the option if you jump on him, but yeah.
You're not really going, you should maybe go to a Sheasel or a Wangani Milera, but they haven't shot the lights out last couple of weeks. So I think the rookie to track.
Yeah. Moonboy, no watch long for 2 weeks. Yeah, mate, gather around and being sick last week, but we'll be back this week, no doubt. If anyone hasn't checked them out, watch songs Thursday, Friday, Saturday most weeks. So come and check it out if you want during the game. Alex says, hey, lads, need to fix 3 defender rookies this week. Traditionally, 1 up, 1 down will get me approximately 900K. Any thoughts on options there, Jet? What are your thoughts on, see, a lot of people moved to 3 rookie defenders, and there were a few people were flagging that it could be a bit of carnage at some point, and what are you going to do? And unfortunately, it all sort of happened in the 1 week. But what are you doing there? You're going 1 up, 1 down to try and fix it, and who do you like that's around that 900K or a little bit less?
Yeah, you've got to get the rooks off field, right? So when you can, that's definitely the goal. That's the goal for me this week, for sure. And then the target, he's a little bit more expensive than the 900, but it's Jack Sinclair for me. I know he's going to have a high break even this week. And it's just, fantasy's just locked out, by the way. Lockout's just raised, so it'll finish. So he's got a break even 132. So you're probably holding there. Holmes, what's Holmes?
Holmes is 955. So
Yeah.
obviously he's been very up and down. Obviously, I don't love his next 4, Carlton, Collingwood, Giants, Port, but after that his run opens up. But
can get the tag. What was the price target on the question?
955. So it's at around 900k. So you've got Flanders, you're not going, but he's mid 900s now. Lockie Ash is 936. Amon's 905. Good run coming up. My boy Lairdy's 899. Josh Dacos is 898. So there are a few guys.
Lockie Ash is the one, right? Because he's got the ceiling scores. So he's the one likely to push the top 10 defenders if that's the price range.
Yep. So if you can go there, Alex, that's probably not a bad move. What do we got there? We've got a heap of questions, heap of comments flying through. So to make it easy, guys, just if you've got a question, we'll just answer maybe 5 more minutes of questions. So just chuck it in the bottom of the chat if I've missed your question, just to make it easier so I don't have to scroll through all the chat there. So just pop your question back in and we'll answer a few there. Tim Asher's got a super chat. Thank you very much for this, mate. So, Geordie, I'll go to you for this one. How do I get Petrarca in without training Sanders or Davidson? Any ideas? Well, Tim, it's a bit hard. Unfortunately, I can't see your whole team at the moment, and unfortunately, don't have time live recording to check your whole team out, mate. But maybe just doing a rookie down. And I don't hate trading Davidson out. He's got Giants at Manuka and then Port Adelaide and Ballarat. 2 bad matchups. That's what I traded him this week. I wish I didn't, but I traded him knowing that those 2 matchups are coming. So, I'd be still, maybe if you can go rookie down, Davidson up Petrarca, that would be what I'd look at doing there. Okay, here we go. So, Tony Ford, is it Reid or Trainer to trade out first, Geordie? What are your thoughts?
I think it depends. What are the prices? Let's have a look here.
So you got Luke Trainer is 513, break even of 58, but he does obviously have Melbourne, then Hawthorn, West Coast, North Melbourne. So not a bad month besides Hawthorn there, but it is at the G, which is good. And then Zach Reed's 507 with a break even of 31, but he's also got a solid run. Collingwood North in the next 2, then Sydney Bulldogs, Richmond.
I'm looping Trainer for those who can. So I don't mind looping against the Melbourne matchup, but obviously the early game if that's an option.
Yeah, I was just going to say about the price, if that helped you get somewhere, but they're basically the same price. So, I think maybe, what Jeppa says, maybe you loop Trainer and trade Reid. I think Reid can go, break even 31. So it is a bit lower. I guess the only difference is they are lower break. He's got a lower break even than Trainer. I guess with Thursday night, we're going to know if Trainer's sub again or if he's out of the side. So, he should be fine, as you said, Bales. But, maybe it's Reid there, just so you can
looking at Reid. So went 63-51 to start the year, then went 83 against Port. Then he went 90 against Melbourne, obviously giving up heaps of points to defenders, but then 36 against West Coast. That's why we didn't really originally start with Reid on the field, right? We thought he had the ability to drop a 30 or a 40. So break even 31, you could trade. I'd probably rather hold Train. I think his role's better. But obviously, if you can loop Trainer first and then have a look what he scores, then maybe trade Reid out. But I guess that defeats the purpose if you're trading one out because if Trainer sucks, then you probably got to play Reid. So a bit of a tricky one there. But if you're looking at high break even, Trainer's got the high break even. BTS Graphics says, is Noble an option, Jep? What are your thoughts on John Noble? So 865K. Obviously scored 113. So his last 4, he's gone 117, 82, 98, and 113. But he's got Sydney and Brisbane in his next 2. What are your thoughts on Noble?
Just with the defence line as a whole, I just feel like it's pretty obvious who those top 6, top 8 defenders are. And I don't think he's in there, even though he's performed well in the last couple of weeks. So for me, I wouldn't go there. But I typically get stubborn with this sort of stuff. Looking at the underpriced guys like Noble, like Ash. It's not for me in that defence line. I've tried to go a bit different in the midfield. Just because, Whitfield's going massive. Sheezel will have his day at some point. Sinclair will bounce back too. there's just too many obvious picks back here. And then, we got Rosie getting defender status soon as well. So, we can count a quick 6 pretty quickly. And I still like Josh Dacos, who's 911K on Anzac Day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could be a potential option. I'll go back to you, Jep, for this one. Jay Sutt's got this one. He's saying, we're lack of downgrade rookies. Can we go to rookies that will be red dots but likely to play in a few weeks, like a Bo Allen, Josh Smiley obviously being the big one there, and a Hugh Boxall? I wouldn't be shocked if Hugh Boxall came in, looked good pre-season. St Kilda, obviously poor performance on the weekend. What are your thoughts on bringing in, obviously, it could be decided this week, right? We might get one of these or a couple of these guys named, but do you mind jumping on even if they're not named in the hopes that they get named, or are you still looking at like maybe a Matt Carroll as the option? I'm just looking at the break evens here in terms of the lowest ones before I get your thoughts on the question. So break evens here, is there any negative break evens this week? So Will White's got a negative 11, but he's mid 300s and a smaller forward. Corey Durden -9, but he's over 400k. Matt Carroll -4. Obviously, Boyd's still there. So really, Matt Carroll's probably the cheaper one. What are your thoughts with the rookies?
Well, for me, again, like I'm looking for those that are best 22 or thereabouts. If you scroll down a bit, there's Charlie Spargo there, who's had sub, and I know he's probably had an interrupted start, but Richmond and West Coast in the next two, and he's 305k, which is actually, that can't be right. That might not have updated. 332k. So, I like the look of that a lot, just for a matchup point of view. Matt Carroll might be the other one. Tunstall is there or thereabouts as well, and has St Kilda this week, especially, and on the wing after Davidson's week, he might go okay. So it's this time of year where the rooks we bring in is super critical, right? Because it's hard to dictate who's near the best or 22, 23, and we're going to need them potentially through the bye rounds to play on field and put a score in. So just keep that in mind. For me, number one target might be Spargo. I'm against a red dot. I wouldn't go Bo Allen or Smiley, even though they will play soon. You just want to look at their role in AFL circles first, especially Smiley, because he's an inside mid through and through, and if he's going to find a spot in the half-forward flank and get lost, then, that spells trouble. So, let's get a good look at them. Both Smiley and Bo Allen are 295k and 322, I think, off the top of my head. Yep. So they're pretty pricey. But Boxall for sure, agreed, 230k. Could be the sub first game though, but nevertheless, Saints got to make a change, and he did show a bit. So
he had 135 points on the weekend, Boxall, in the VFL.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
33 disposals.
I think
and Saints, they subbed out Henry, and Zach Jones was sub, and he wasn't great, and they got pumped. So I don't know, but he could come in as a sub. But if he's named at 230k, I think I might even just go there.
Yeah, well, Jep, I was actually just going to ask you that. If a Smiley got named on Thursday and wasn't sub, and then if Boxall, I think if Bo Allen got named, you'd probably want to see a week. But I feel like the other two, if Boxall was named and not sub, and then Smiley as well, would you launch straight into either of these guys?
Yeah, I'd go straight into Boxall because he's basement price, and cash is king for me in upgrade season. So, and I think Saints are poor, so he'll get his time at some point. Garcia might, dare I say, it might be threatened if Boxall comes in. So, Boxall, I'm pretty much hoping Boxall plays personally, because I want to Uber premium this week. But if not, then because I'm pretty sure the Saints play this Sunday, because I looked at this last night on the wimp that it was going to happen. So
St Kilda play the first game on
the Saturday,
which is good.
So we'll know. So I'd go straight into Boxall if he wasn't the sub, and then we're going to have options after that, surely. So
over Carroll?
Smiley,
or would you go Carroll?
We'll know. I just feel like Carroll's faced West Coast and North Melbourne, really soft matchups for both, and he's scored mediocre in both. I think that's a risk. Boxall has shown what he can do, and add value.
Probably get a bit of a run as well.
Yeah, better role. So that's me. Again, I think it's critical. The Brooks that you bring in this week is just important as the primos that you bring in this week. With the buy rounds around the corner and the cash gen still really important.
Yep, exactly. Last couple of questions here, and then we'll wrap up. So a lot of people asking about Ned Long and CPT Moonlight was one of them. Geordie saying, is Powell down to Ned Long and TDK to Gawn an option? So I'll first get your thoughts on Ned Long as an owner. His price, so his price currently is 604K. Yeah, 604K, break even to 33, but pretty nice run coming up until their buy in round 14. So what are your thoughts on Ned Long as an option, and then CPT's question of Powder Long and TDK to Gawn?
Yeah, I think I like that. I think that's good. I like Long. Obviously, I brought him in. I just think, if as long as your rookie's okay, like I think that you could do the option of, okay, maybe I'll hold TDK against Cats and I'll try and get a rookie fix up to Long, and that way you're still getting that. But I do like the trades if you've got a good bench. That would be my thoughts.
Yeah, and then Ned Long just as a solo one, if you can do like a Marais and even like if you go Fino Sullivan down to a Boxall, for example, then Marais up to Ned Long, you'd be ticking something like that off. Yes,
I really like that. That's pretty much the move I did this week. I got rid of Stone and Henderson for me, like I needed a red. Well, I don't have a red dot, but he got dropped, and I was like, okay, I could hold him for a red dot, but Melbourne play Thursday night this week, and they played early last week, and I couldn't really use him anyway. So I was like, I'm just going to get rid of him, and I'm going to get Cleary and Long, and that was what I did this week to try and set us up. So I think that's a good move to fix those rookies up. So I like that, but I also like the other trade if your rookies are good. So yeah, I like Long. I think, as we said, he was he got 81 and he was the 5th top scorer in that game. So I think he's pretty safe for an 80 plus for the next couple of weeks until until Houston and Schultz and a few of these other guys are back. But I still think he's given himself a couple of weeks in that high CBO role.
Well, he's gone 30 and a quarter against the Giants in opening round. Then he went a 90 against Port, obviously came on very early as a sub, but 90 still good score. Then a 72 came on early as a sub against the Dogs with a 72. Played the game against Port, got a 90. Again, played a quarter against Carlton, scored 31. 104 against Sydney, and then 81 against Brisbane at the Gabba. Tough matchup, and then a low-scoring game. I think I'm definitely looking at him as an option. Final question, though, from Tony Ford. Jep, I'll go to you here for this one. Dacos, Petrarca, or Horn Francis as a trade-in option. How would you rank the three in terms of who you'd bring in?
Well, Dacos is hitting those ceiling scores, and I just feel like he's not going to get cheaper than he is now. He wants his Brownlow. Collingwood are gunning for a premiership, etc., etc. So I am very much looking at Dacos, even though he's priced at probably 105, 110, whatever it is. So it's just solidifying that spot for those that demand the football. Petrarca, sure, soft matchup, but I just feel like later in the season that could bite you. He can definitely get disinterested and his body language can be really poor and throw out a poor score with that. So, yeah, Dacos for me. Newcomb would be number 2 for me as well.
Yeah. And then how would you order Petrarca and Horn Francis? Is it Horn Francis ahead of Petrarca or the other way around?
Yeah, no, Horn Francis ahead of Petrarca. Butters just makes a world of difference, and Geordie, being the Port guy, will share that sentiment, I'm sure. The last 2 weeks Butters has played, Horn Francis has turned it on. So, yeah, I've got Nick Dacos, JHF, Petrarca in that order.
Yeah, I'd have Dacos first. I'd probably only go Petrarca just with Richmond and West Coast, and with Melbourne, Melbourne fans are probably hoping that they can now get 2 more wins and be 3 from 3 and maybe get on a little bit of a roll. They changed a bit of their game style, but yeah, Horn Francis probably season longs probably looks like the pick. So definitely could be something there. But that'll do us for the pod. We keep going. I know all of us could talk about fantasy, but to keep for the listeners to a bit shorter, we'll cut it there. But we've got our Q&A tomorrow night. So we'll be doing a heap more questions there. You guys will have 24 hours to to sort of digest and have a look at all the trade options you can do, and we can answer all your questions there at the usual time tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Perth time. But Geordie, early thoughts? Obviously, lockout's just lifted, but you would have probably had a bit of a look at what your trades are going to be or what your plans might be. What are you currently looking at doing if you can do it?
Yeah, so I do have Reed as a D6 there, and that's probably my weakest spot at the moment. So I just need to think about that. You know, if Trainer could come out, could I just have trust in Trainer? So that might be one place I'm looking at. And then I've got Garcia and Marriage. I've got Garcia on the bench. I'm probably going to look at Garcia down, I think. I'm probably going to look at Davidson down to a rookie, hopefully Boxall, and upgrade somewhere else. And whether that'll be a defender, I'd love to get I know Sheasel's not going great, but I'd love to see if I can get to a Sheasel just because he's a bit cheap. And I know he's going to be top 6. I know he'll come into form. I know was a bit slow, but probably going to look at something like that, or maybe I'll go Lockie Ash as we talked about.
Yeah, a few options there to be looking at. Jep, what are you currently looking at with your plans? Obviously, you mentioned Nick Dacos there.
Yeah, so if Trainer does well on the Thursday with a decent enough score, then I'll loop him on and focus on a mid-primo, whether it's Dacos or Newcomb. But then I've just got to weigh up how I get there, because it's going to be like a Marrick or a Davidson going. And does that make me have to play a Moraes or a Caden Cleary even? So I've just got to weigh all that up because my bench depth isn't the greatest.
Do you have Lindsay, Jep?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's already on field though. So
okay, because you could loop with he's playing Thursday as well. Could be a loop, but yeah, if he's on field.
Yeah, I got Campriali there, so I might loop Boxall or someone like that, or even Moraes, and see how it goes. So yeah, I've just got to see how all that works. But if Trainer does poorly, defender, and I actually really do like Sheasel, even though it hasn't come through in recent times. Jack Sinclair's the other one, although to break even 132, might need to wait. So, and then Whitfield's just so expensive, I don't even think I could get up to him. A bit to work out, but obviously lots of targets. But like I said before, for the listeners, which book you bring in is as important as the premium you're bringing in as well.
Yep, exactly. So I'm currently looking at my early trade plans are probably Finn O'Sullivan down to a Boxall or a Matt Carroll, one of the two. And on the other end, I should still be able to go Christian Moraes up to Ned Long. That's my early thoughts. Again, I don't know if I can necessarily get a big upgrade unless I'm trading a Marrick or an Ashcroft. So I'm probably looking at Ned Long this week and having a little bit of cash, maybe 100, 150K to then trade the week after and look at be a primo that week. So they're my early thoughts, but we'll see what happens when I've a bit of a play around with the team. But as I said, that'll do us. But Jordy, mate, thank you for jumping on once again, mate. Where can people find you across the socials?
Yeah, just Jordan DeSena on X as well as Instagram and stuff. If you do a few gigs and stuff. So I've got a couple of original music as well on Spotify, but if you want to listen to that, but also footy stuff will be on X. I'll probably post my review soon, and keen to get stuck in for another week. Great that it's a short week. Thursday football starts, so I love that.
I love it. Only a couple of days and then we're back into it again. So looking forward to it. But thank you for jumping on once again, mate. Jep, mate, good to have you back on. Obviously, been a long time between drinks. Get you back on. I'm sure it'll be sooner when we get you back on next, mate. But where can people find you across the socials and where can they find the Plus Six podcast?
Jeppa DT on X and just search Plus Six podcast on Spotify, mate, and you should find it. We'll be on tomorrow night. People will no doubt have an in-depth analysis. We typically record on the Tuesday night once the injury news hits, so we get a bit of a better outlook for the week. But short week, like Jordan said, and let's see how we go.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find me at BAILSDT. You can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans across the socials as well. Obviously, as I said, we're back tomorrow night for our Q&A. Hopefully, Guesty and Jordox will be back on with us, but we'll be answering a heap of your questions. So make sure you guys tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Perth time. And, answering a heap of your questions there. And then the usual stuff, my review will be tomorrow, even though you probably don't want to tune into that because I'm doing shit house, unless you just want to laugh and then maybe you can see how bad my team's going, then all the usual content throughout the week. But if you are watching on YouTube, please smash like on the video. If you could do that, that'd be very much appreciated. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. 2 clicks takes less than 5 seconds. If you can help us out and do that, that'd be very much appreciated so we can hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. And if you're listening back to the podcast and can leave us a 5-star rating and review, that would be very much appreciated as well. And, we'll catch you guys tomorrow night for our Q&A. So thanks, guys. Have a good night. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.